morning, everyone. Good morning. Hey, that's pretty good. You're still awake. And I know I'm standing before lunch, so I will make this quick. I will post my presentation as well on our website after the event, so you'll be able to go there and gather the information as you would like. Here we go. How many of you are familiar with the Clean Cities program? Excellent. Word is spreading. Well, as you know, then, the Department of Energy started the program about 17 years ago to promote the use of alternative fuels at a local level. It was established in partnership with the passing of EPACT, and that program, the Energy Policy Act, was passed to require certain fleets, basically federal, state, and fuel provider fleets, to use and implement alternative fuels whenever feasible, depending on the size of their fleet and the area they're in. Determines the percentage of vehicles and fuel, or the vehicles they need to have in their fleet. The program was developed to help those federal, state, and fuel provider fleets out across the country in their locations partner with private sector fleets that also wanted to implement alternative fuels. There are 87 coalitions across the country, and those 87 coalitions serve about 78% of the population. In Indiana, there are two. Myself, Greater Indiana Clean Cities Coalition. My communications coordinator is here with me today, Chris Dorman. He helps with our educational events and outreach that we do throughout the year as well. And then South Shore Clean Cities, which covers the northern part of Indiana. The deployment rationale through the Clean Cities program is to increase awareness both at a public, consumer level and a fleet level. We go to Earth Day events with vehicles for ride and drives. The partnerships that you've heard about today with Think and with Paul's groups are just a small example of some of the things that we do across the fuel spectrum to help fleets and consumers understand and determine which fuel makes sense for their application. There is no one alternative fuel or technology that's going to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. It is going to take all of them to make an impact and to truly move us away from that dependence. The primary focus, again, is to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. We have, for example, in our coalition, Country Mart Co-op, who is a producer of gas and diesel fuel in the southern part of the state. Their crude comes from the Illinois Basin, so that is American product. We are not, or our coalition isn't naive enough to think that we will be able to solely get away from all of our oil consumption in the transportation market, but we certainly can reduce it to the point to where we could use our own resources here in the U.S. and, in addition, create jobs and develop the infrastructure that could support that as well. The portfolio of technologies that we support are across the whole gamut. Again, we're fuel neutral. We work with fleets and consumers to help them determine which fuel best fits their fleet's application. And there truly is a difference when you're looking at all of the fuels and the fleet's operations as to which fuel makes the most sense or technology. Being fuel neutral, I've listed these in alphabetical order. On the alternative fuel side, biodiesel is considered an alternative fuel at a blend of B20 or 20% biodiesel in with a balance of diesel fuel, or if winter blending, whatever that blend would be. That's where EPA says the emission reduction benefits are the greatest across the board in any engine maker model that it's used in. And ethanol is at E85 or E73 in your winter blending months. That, again, is where the emission benefits EPA feels warrants it being considered an alternative fuel. However, we do still support the other blends, and you may have seen recently where EPA passed the ability for petroleum providers and retailers to blend at an E15 level for certain model year cars and newer, I think it's 07 and newer, are allowed to use E15 in their vehicle. But any other vehicle using E85 has to be flex fuel capable or E85 compatible. There are some component differences in the vehicle's manufacturing that make it able to run the fuel. There's an oxygen sensor that senses the level of fuel and the ethanol in the fuel. So it is critical that if you're running on E85, you are doing that with a flex fuel marked and branded vehicle by the OEM. We don't have a lot of hydrogen around here yet, but certainly on the East Coast they've been looking at it, and the West Coast, and it's just a matter of time as these other technologies have come forward. I think they will also figure out hydrogen. Natural gas, talking about corridors that Paul just mentioned, by the end of this year we will have a compressed natural gas corridor on I-65, and I will talk about that a little bit later. But we also have from Gary, Indiana, down to Mobile, Alabama, on I-65 and E-85 corridor. So flex fuel vehicle owners can drive the whole length of I-65 across the country on E-85. This was done in part by a grant from the Department of Energy that our Indiana Office of Energy Development was very generous under the guidance of Lieutenant Governor Skillman to manage and support for us. So that's been a wonderful tool and way that we and other coalitions have been able to raise awareness about alternative fuels, and that corridors truly are the key to making any of these alternative fuels work. Other technologies in our portfolio are idle reduction technologies. Just turning your key off makes a huge difference. You can burn 1.5 gallons of fuel in an hour just sitting and idling. Hybrid vehicles, light and heavy duties are out, as you all know. Electric vehicles are coming and fast approaching the ability to make corridors of those as well. Plug-in hybrids, and then the hydraulic hybrids was a big talk at the Green Truck Summit that was here in Indianapolis earlier this spring. And then with that, fuel economy. Vehicles that can just drive further distances on 1 gallon of fuel. Idle reduction technologies that can go into semis and provide their heating and cooling and electrical needs in the winter or the summer months, depending on their routes and their distances and the work that they need to do in their cab. That is their office when they're on the road. So all of these things help us replace, reduce, and eliminate our use of foreign oil. Since the program started, we've displaced nearly 3 billion gallons of petroleum. I kind of look at our program, and if you have kids, you may know Horton Hears a Who, and the Who's are in the dust ball going, "We are here, we are here, we are here." That's kind of how I feel as a Clean Cities coordinator. We're here to help, but no one really knows about us that much. I was thrilled to see the number of hands in the room, but we're kind of the best kept secret for the Department of Energy in that we want to help fleets and consumers and industry partners such as yourselves to put these technologies and products out on the road and make folks aware of them. We've done 9 educational events so far this year, and we touch on every fuel, every technology, again, just trying to raise the awareness and the exposure of these alternative fuels and help the fleets and the consumers understand that they're here today. These aren't things that are 15, 20 years down the road. Natural gas and propane and some of these other technologies have been around for 30 plus years, and they are viable and just getting better every day. The 4 major activity areas, again, that the program from a national level down through its coalitions focuses on are, again, supporting activities of the coalitions. We do a lot of training with the Department of Energy to ensure that we are up to speed and familiar with all the technologies that are out there. We talk to groups such as this. I'm here today on the request of Linda Bluestein, who's the director of the DOE Clean Cities program in Washington. We help, again, with consumer outreach information. There's a lot of information on the Energy Office's display, their table out in the lobby that has the tools and the websites and the phone numbers for technical response or any questions that you might have about alternative fuels. If you're driving a natural gas vehicle and you want to go cross country, you can map your route and find those stations on that website before you take off. You might still be doing a little bit of this as you go across, but it is coming rapidly that where we will have not only CNG and propane, but charging and so forth across the interstates and across our country in a very short time frame. Technical problem solving and assistance. I couldn't do what I do without ICF Consulting. I go to them with a question that I don't have the answer for or don't have the time to look that up, and they have an answer back to us usually that day within a half hour. So certainly all of these resources are available to you, or if you reach out to me, I am happy to make that call and that inquiry for you. And then financial assistance. Funding is put out by the Department of Energy on a competitive basis through the Clean Cities program, and the corridor project I mentioned was one of those awards. We have been, again, very, what's the word I'm looking for? We've been very fortunate, thank you, Kathy, to work with the Lieutenant Governor's office. Patrick Flynn's here today, or he was, there he is, Patrick, and Eric Birch in the back of the room from the Lieutenant Governor Skillman's Energy Office, and their support of our program. Their partnership has done a great deal to help us manage and put these funds out on the street in Indiana, creating jobs and reducing our dependence on foreign oil. Recently, just this March, the President announced the National Clean Fleet Program. That is a program where national fleets such as UPS that you see here in this picture, as well as AT&T, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, Verizon, and others have joined and committed to use alternative fuels in their fleet applications. UPS uses pretty much every fuel and technology that's out there, depending on where they are in the country. Here in Indiana, actually, at Union City, which is a very small town, northeast Indiana, almost to Ohio, are doing retrofits on several UPS trucks right now to propane, and those trucks will be deployed in the Canada market. In the southern part of the country, Kentucky, Tennessee, they've been using biodiesel for some time. They have a lot of electrification going on, and they use natural gas as well. So truly, it does, they all do work. They all do work, the fuels do, in specific areas, regions, and fleet operations, and I think UPS is a prime example of that. We have actually here in the Indianapolis area, AT&T right now is fueling 50 of their vans that are compressed natural gas vehicles at a station here in Indianapolis. We've also announced just this last fall the National Parks Program, and this is helping us keep the parks cleaner. I don't know if you're aware, but this surprised me in Yellowstone. Because of the snowmobiles and things in the winter, the pollution was so bad they had to limit the number of snowmobiles in the park. With the vehicles in the park using alternative fuels, it's helped reduce those emissions that they were starting to have problems with and affecting the animals and the landscape and the beautiful scenery in that area. The bus that you see there at Glacier National Park is actually from the 60s, I believe it is. They found some of them in a garage. A man had bought them at an auction years and years ago. They were able to get them out, restore them. They're running on propane right now in the parks. So it's a great story, and it's a wonderful thing to see those vehicles running through the parks, knowing that they're not making the environment or the air quality worse than as some of their gasoline and diesel counterparts might be doing. Here's just some of the web tools that we have available through the Clean Cities program and the website that's maintained by the National Renewable Energy Lab. I'm not going to read all of this to you. I'm just going to flip through these slides very quickly. But again, out on the table where the Energy Office booth is, we have flyers and handouts that you can pick up that will give you more detail on these tools that are available to you. Recently, we've announced some mobile versions as well of tools that can be used on your smartphones, and there is a little guide out there as well that you can grab if you're interested in that. You can go again and map your routes. It's just amazing the things they come up with, and these tools that they provide, allowing us then to have them at our fingertips to better help our customers and our local members. We've also just started Clean Cities TV. Just this spring we went through training where we will be videotaping events, workshops, media events, what have you, and uploading those to worldwide television where they will have them on web TV. So shortly you'll be able to go to that Clean Cities site and view some of those videos and events and workshops from coalitions all across the country. You can easily access the Clean Cities website too, by the way, through our coalition website, and I'll give you that address at the end. You'll find the DOE Clean Cities logo, which is there at the top right-hand corner of the screen. You'll find that on our homepage and be able to click on that, and it'll link you directly to the DOE Clean Cities website.